Welcome to a new 6HE update. And let's start off with, we completed the Wooting 6HE ARM production. Now, there's a lot of fanfare around it because we didn't just complete one of the productions, we've actually completed the ARM model, which is very important because if we want to produce more Wooting 6HEs, we don't want to change that model anymore. We just want to focus on manufacturing as many keyboards as we can. And that's something we can do right now, which is very awesome. And also a segue to the other parts of this update. One of them being, first, what production did we just do, which batch is that? And then also look at the other batches that we still plan to manufacture in one time, very big one, that I'll get into in a moment. Because first, look around me. Does this look new to you? Yes, it is, because we finally finished the move to our new studio location. And it looks, I hope, a little bit more fancy than the previous one. It's not completely done. There's still some stuff we want to try and do, but this is what is going to be like new update location. I hope you like it. We like it a lot. It's fun to build, so that's also very cool. Yay! I had to make them clap. All right, so let's start off with the status of the batches, and then I'll be going into something else as well, which is a new update for the utility and the keyboard firmware concerning Rapid Trigger. It's going to be pretty cool. So now, batches. So the production we just completed is EU Pi and NA-Rho, which is the first Wooting 6HE ARM model batches that we were planning to produce for a long time. If you are in that batch, then if you're an EU Pi air freight, we expect the goods around the 13th of September in our warehouse, and then we can start shipments to you straight away. If you're in the regular order, so you did not upgrade to air freight, then we expect it in our warehouse around the 27th up to the 4th of October. It's going to be on a vessel, it'll take a while. But if you do change your mind and you still want that air freight upgrade, what we did in this case, we added more keyboards to the air freight shipment because we know from the previous shipment, some people get a bit impatient or they change their mind and would still want that air freight upgrade. So we have a buffer stock in air freight so you can still upgrade your order in the Wooting hub to air freight and we can ship out your keyboard earlier. But ho ho, there is a limit to the buffer. If it's gone, then air freight will not be available and you'll still have to wait for that 27th to 4th of October whenever the vessel arrives. If you're an NA-Rho, then we expect the goods to arrive at the warehouse around the 24th of September. Now, there's no split between air freight and sea freight for NA-Rho. There's a very special reason for that, and either you look on Discord stock update channel or you check your email because you've received an email what those details are and what the changes are. I just don't want to cover it now because I'm very afraid I'll confuse anybody else in other batches when it comes to air freight and sea freight. And I just don't want to confuse people and load up customer service. So check out your email or check out the Discord stock update channel and you'll know what I'll be talking about. Then, everybody else that is not in EU Pi or in NA-Rho, so all the other batches for the Wooting 6HE, which are quite a lot that I'm not going to name right now, we're trying to manufacture them all in one go, like the whole amount, by the 28th of September. Now, it's a little bit of an ambitious date. We've set the date together with the manufacturer, which we can or cannot make, but it will not be far off from that date. The goal for us is to manufacture as much as we can by the 28th of September, and if there's any reason why we cannot make that full amount, we'll be trickling it down, so meaning that we'll ship out everything that we're able to produce by that time, and then ship out a next batch of everything we'll produce every 2 weeks or so much time. But in either case, we're trying to deliver it as soon as possible. We're very focused on manufacturing, making all the preparations required because we still have that one goal for us, which is to actually have Wooting 6HE on stock and trying to sell it on stock. And it's becoming increasingly challenging with the amount of popularity and attention we're getting for the 6HE, which is awesome, at the same time very challenging, and we're very focused on it. Now, what you can do in the meanwhile while you're waiting, you can always go to the Wooting hub, double check your shipping address, especially if you're in EU Pi or in NA-Rho. We'll also send you an email with your shipping address information where you can double check. If it's not correct, you can go to the Wooting hub first and make the change yourself, so you don't need to ask customer service, you can just change it yourself. If there's any issue of changing the address, that's when you contact customer service by replying that email or just, sending an email to social@wooting.io. If you're in one of the later batches, so meaning the big production, so it's not EU Pi or NA-Rho, you also have a chance in the hub to do some upgrades, either air freight upgrade or add a loop or tool set or wrist rest. Now, it might not be in stock at this very moment, but we are working very hard to make sure it's back in stock before we start shipments of those batches. and I expect by the end of September to have a lot more stock there where you can do those upgrades. So if you were wanting to do the upgrade, around that time we expect the stock. Otherwise, just you can always check the Wooting hub when it's available. You'll see it available on the hub as well, and you can do that upgrade. You can find all the links and required information down below in the description if you don't know where to look or what even the Wooting hub is. Alright, so that was all the status stuff. Now something completely different, the utility and the keyboard firmware. Now, as you might know from us, we continuously work on the utility and the keyboard firmware because we just want to make sure it's the best as possible. So if we can make an improvement somewhere, we'll make it, we'll change it, and we'll make sure it's the best as we can get it. And that's also what we do on Discord when we look at the feedback channel. We all read your feedback. We actually look at it, we consider it, and then we try to implement it if it makes sense, or we try to make it better. So feedback is important. Don't neglect it. Give it to us if you have it. We always take a look. So what is one of the things that we are going to add to the next update? It's an improvement to rapid trigger. So rapid trigger right now has a sensitivity slider, which you can change from a certain amount of millimeters up to down to 0.1 millimeter, but it's a single slider that decides how sensitive both that upstroke and downstroke will be. Well, now in rapid trigger, you're going to have an advanced feature set for rapid trigger. If you open it, you can toggle on a separation between the upstroke sensitivity and the downstroke sensitivity. This might be very useful in particular scenarios. One of them, for example, you want that upstroke to be very sensitive, so the key deactivates as soon as possible, but you don't want that reactivation to happen as fast or as soon as possible. You want that to be a little bit more loosened up, so you can say, okay, upstroke to 0.1 millimeter, it will deactivate as soon as it can, but I'll put that downstroke to 1 millimeter, so it will not reactivate as fast. Now, I would not concern yourself with this feature if you just, you're not that into rapid trigger, but for people that are really into rapid trigger and understand exactly how it works, this is the perfect tool to start tweaking and see how you can further optimize your skill set. Then the last part of this update, if you might have noticed, I have here a white keycap set, and this is not just a normal white keycap set, this is actually our Wooting double shot PBT keycap set, but then in white. So we've been working on this for a little while. We're trying to find the perfect white that has no LED bleed. So meaning when it's full brightness and you're in a dark room, you don't see that extra shine around the legends from the LEDs going through the keycap. That's a bit tricky, but we're going to have these white keycap sets, and we're going to have it not only in the US language, we're also going to have the UK language, German language, Nordics, and I think I had all of them. So that's something we're working on right now. We'll also have the Wooting double shot PBT keycaps in black, so not only in white, in those aforementioned languages. It is probably going to be 2 months out from now. We're trying to work on it as soon as possible, but it's going to be pretty dope. These are really good keycaps. That was it for this update, and I'll see you in the next one.